The pink slip felt heavier than paper should. I stared at it in the parking lot of Morrison Electronics, where I'd spent 5 years building their digital infrastructure from scratch. Position eliminated due to restructuring. Corporate speak 4, we found someone cheaper. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, not crying, just numb. 5 years of 60-hour weeks. 5 years of being on call 24/7. 5 years of saving their systems from complete meltdown at least once a month. Gone. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister Jessica, family dinner tonight. Don't forget, 7 p.m. Great. Perfect timing to announce I joined the unemployment line. The smell of mom's pot roast usually meant comfort. Tonight, it meant interrogation. So, Dad started before I'd even taken off my coat. How's the computer thing going? The computer thing was how he referred to my career as a senior systems architect, like I was playing video games in someone's basement. Actually, I began. Oh, before you start, Jessica interrupted, flipping her perfectly highlighted hair. I have news. Brad got promoted to regional manager, youngest one in company history. That's wonderful, sweetheart, Mom gushed. A real career milestone. Brad, Jessica's husband, sold insurance. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the way my family talked about it, you'd think he'd cured cancer. And, Jessica continued, we're looking at houses in Westfield. You know, the gated community? Brad says we need to think about our image now. Image, I muttered. What was that? Samantha? Mom's eyes narrowed. Nothing, actually. I have some news too. Oh God, Jessica laughed. What now? Did you finally realize sitting at a computer all day isn't a real job? Jessica, Brad said mildly, but he was smirking too. I was laid off today, I said quietly. The silence lasted about 3 seconds. Then Jessica burst out laughing, actually laughing. Oh my God, finally, maybe now you'll get a real job. Jessica, I stared at her. I just lost my. You're what? Dad interjected. Your excuse to avoid growing up? Samantha, you're 34. When I was your age, I had a mortgage, 2 kids, and a real career. I had a real career, I said through gritted teeth. I made $90,000 a year. Doing what? Mom scoffed. Typing? Playing with wires? That's not a career, honey, that's a hobby that got out of hand. I designed and maintained the entire digital infrastructure for a company with 300 employees. Computers. Dad shook his head. It's all outsourced to India now anyway. This is a blessing in disguise. Now you can find something stable. Maybe Brad can get you an interview at his firm? You could be a receptionist. A receptionist, I repeated flatly, with my master's degree in computer science. Well, you can't be picky now, Jessica said, cutting her meat with precise movements. Beggars can't be choosers. Right, Brad? The insurance industry is very stable, Brad offered. Great benefits, real pension plan. I had benefits, I said. I had a 401k with matching. Had, Jessica emphasized, past tense. See, this is what happens when you choose these fly-by-night tech things instead of building a real career. About time, Dad nodded. Maybe now you'll stop wasting your life on those screens and do something meaningful. I stood up. I need to go. Samantha, sit down, Mom commanded. We're trying to help you. No, I said, grabbing my coat. You're gloating. There's a difference. Dramatic as always. Jessica sighed. This is why you're 34 and single. You know, men don't like women who think they're smarter than everyone else. I don't think I'm smarter than everyone else, I said. I just think I'm smarter than people who believe a computer science degree is worth less than a real estate license. How dare you? I left. In my apartment that night, I stared at my laptop. 5 years of projects, innovations, systems I'd built from nothing, all reduced to playing with computers by my own family. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom, your father is right. This is an opportunity to make better choices. Jessica says Brad can interview you Monday. I turned off my phone and opened my laptop. If I was going to be unemployed, I might as well work on the project I'd been tinkering with for 2 years, an AI-driven network security system that could predict and prevent cyber attacks before they happened. Morrison Electronics had shown zero interest when I'd pitched it. Too experimental, they'd said. Stick to maintaining what we have. Well, I didn't have to stick to anything anymore. 3 weeks into unemployment, I'd accomplished more than I had in the last year at Morrison. My severance package gave me 6 months of runway, and I'd decided to use every minute of it. I ignored the weekly texts from my family. Mom, Brad can still interview you. Jessica, there's a secretary position at Tom's firm. Want me to put in a word? Dad, your cousin Linda is hiring at her daycare. Real stability there. Instead, I focused on my code. 12-hour days became 16-hour days. My tiny apartment became a command center of monitors, servers, and enough caffeine to kill a horse. Then Marcus called. Marcus Liu, my old college roommate who'd made a fortune selling his first startup to Google. Sam, heard you got canned from Morrison. Their loss. What are you working on? I told him about the security system, the predictive algorithms, the machine learning components that could adapt to new threats in real time. Send me a demo, he said. It's not ready. Send it anyway. I did. He called back 2 hours later. How much do you need? What? Seed funding. How much? Marcus, I can't take your money. You're not taking it. I'm investing it. This thing is incredible. Sam, with the right team, this could revolutionize cybersecurity. I'm thinking $1 million to start. You in? I nearly dropped the phone. 3 months later, CyberShield AI was incorporated. Marcus's investment had attracted 2 more angels. We had a team of 6 brilliant engineers who believed in the vision. Our beta was catching intrusions that $1 million systems were missing. I was so buried in work that I almost missed Jessica's text. Family dinner Sunday. Mom says no excuses. I thought about skipping. Then I thought about their faces when I told them about the company. Maybe, just maybe, they'd finally understand. You look tired, was Mom's greeting. Are you eating? I'm fine, Mom, just busy. Too busy job hunting to shower? Jessica wrinkled her nose. You know appearance matters, right? Brad, tell her how important first impressions are. Very important. Brad intoned, adjusting his tie. I never hire anyone who looks unkempt. Good thing I'm not applying to sell insurance then, I muttered. Still so prideful. Dad sighed. 3 months unemployed and you're still turning your nose up at honest work? I'm not unemployed, I said. I started a company. Silence. Then Jessica snorted. A company? What? Like a blog? A cybersecurity firm. We're developing AI-driven. Oh please, Mom interrupted. Samantha, stop playing pretend. You need a real job. The bank called yesterday about your student loans. My loans are in deferment, and we just closed our series of funding. Series A? Dad looked confused. Is that some video game thing? It means we raised $3 million in venture capital. Brad laughed. 3 million? Right. And I'm buying a yacht tomorrow. It's true, I said quietly. Marcus Liu led the round. Chen Ventures and Apex Capital joined. We're incorporating in Delaware, hiring 10 more engineers. And, this Marcus person, Mom interrupted. Is he legitimate? You haven't given him any money, have you? Or personal information? There are so many scams targeting desperate people. He's my friend from MIT, I exploded. He sold his last company for $50 million. And I'm not desperate, I'm building something revolutionary. Don't raise your voice, Dad said coldly. We're trying to protect you from yourself. These get-rich-quick schemes. It's not a scheme. I wrote every line of code myself. I've been working on this for 2 years. While you should have been focusing on your real job, Jessica added. The one you lost because you were distracted by hobbies. I stood up. Again. But this time, I pulled out my phone. What are you doing? Mom asked. Showing you something. I opened my bank app. See this? This is my business account. That number? That's our seed funding. $3 million. They stared at the screen like it might bite them. That can't be real, Brad said weakly. And this? I switched apps. Is TechCrunch. See that headline? CyberShield AI raises $3 million to revolutionize predictive cybersecurity. That's my company, my hobby, my fake job. But how? Jessica's voice was small. Because I'm good at what I do, I said simply. Because what you call playing with computers is actually engineering. Because while you were laughing at me for losing my job, I was building something incredible. Well, Dad cleared his throat. That's wonderful, sweetheart. We always knew you had potential. No, I cut him off. You didn't. You thought I was wasting my life. You tried to get me to be a receptionist, a secretary. You said I needed a real job. We were trying to help, Mom said weakly. You were trying to diminish me. There's a difference. I left. Again. But this time, I didn't feel angry. Just free. 6 months later, my phone rang at 2 a.m. Mom. Samantha, we have a problem. I sat up, instantly awake. What's wrong? Is Dad okay? We're losing the house. What? Your father's company downsized. He was let go 2 months ago. We didn't want to worry you. We thought he'd find something quickly. And Jessica and Brad, they can't help. Brad's company is restructuring too. And they're upside down on their Westfield house. How bad? I asked. The bank is foreclosing. We have 30 days. I was silent for a long moment. Samantha, Are you there? I'm here. I know we haven't been supportive, but you're doing so well now. Could you maybe loan us? How much? I interrupted. 40,000. Just to catch up on the mortgage and buy us time. 40,000. I had it. CyberShield had just closed Series B funding, 12 million this time. My salary as CEO was generous. I could write that check without blinking. Please, Mom said quietly, we're desperate. Desperate. Like I'd been when I lost my job, when they'd left. Ask Jessica, I said. She has a real job, remember? Samantha, or Brad. He's regional manager now, youngest in company history. They're broke. Mom's voice cracked. The Westfield house was too expensive. They're in debt up to their eyeballs. You're our only hope. Funny how that works, I said. The family failure is now the only hope. I'm sorry, she whispered. We're sorry, we were wrong. Is that what you want to hear? What I wanted to hear was congratulations when I started my company. What I wanted to hear was we believe in you when I lost my job. What I wanted to hear was we're proud of you when I raised $3 million. We are proud. No, I said, you're desperate. There's a difference. Long silence. So you won't help us? I thought about it. Really thought about it. The house I grew up in. The dining room where they'd laughed at my unemployment. The kitchen where they'd called my career a hobby. I'll buy the house, I said finally. What? I'll buy it from the bank. Cash offer. You can rent it from me at market rate. Samantha, we're your parents. And I'm a CEO, I said, of a tech company, a real company, with real employees and real investors and real revenue, which apparently only became real to you when you needed it. This is cruel, Mom whispered. No, I said, cruel is laughing at your daughter when she loses her job. Cruel is trying to force her into being a receptionist when she has a master's degree. Cruel is only seeing her value when you need her money. I hung up. I bought the house, not out of spite, but because it was a good investment. The neighborhood was appreciating. The house needed work, but I had the capital. My parents are my tenants now. They pay rent on time. We're cordial, professional. Sometimes Mom texts me articles about CyberShield. We've been featured in Wired, Forbes, even the Wall Street Journal after we prevented a major attack on a Fortune 500 company. So proud of you, she writes. Jessica and Brad lost their Westfield house. They're renting a 2-bedroom apartment now. Brad sells insurance from home. Jessica got her real estate license, but the market is tough. Last week, Jessica texted, saw you on CNN talking about the Microsoft partnership. Amazing. Hey, is CyberShield hiring? Brad has some ideas about cyber insurance products. I didn't respond. Here's what I learned. Sometimes losing a job isn't an ending, it's a beginning. Sometimes the people who should support you become your biggest obstacles. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's proving yourself right. My fake company just got valued at $200 million. We have 43 employees and contracts with 8 major corporations. That predictive algorithm I built while unemployed? It's now patent pending and the cornerstone of our technology. But the sweetest part? It's not the money. It's not the Forbes 30 under 40 list. It's not even the TED Talk invitation. It's knowing that I built this, not in spite of losing my real job, but because of it, not to prove my family wrong, but to prove myself right. The girl who played with computers now runs a company that protects millions of users from cyber threats. The family disappointment now employs more people than her father ever did. The unemployed loser now has a net worth that makes Brad's regional manager position look like what it is, middle management in a dying industry. But I don't gloat. That's beneath me. Instead, I work, I build, I create. And every morning, when I walk into our real office with real employees doing real work, I think about that family dinner, the laughter, the condescension, the certainty that I'd failed. They were right about one thing, I did need to get a real job. So I created one. And then I created 42 more. Turns out, playing with computers pays pretty well. Who knew? Everyone except my family, apparently, but then again, they always were slow to recognize potential. Even when it was sitting right at their dinner table, building an empire on a laptop they thought was just a toy. Epilogue, 2 years later, CyberShield AI went public last week. IPO valued us at $2 billion. I retained 18% ownership. Do the math. Mom called, sweetheart, we saw the news. We're so proud. Listen, the rent on the house, given the circumstances, the rent stays the same, I said, but I'll throw in free cybersecurity for your devices. Can't have my tenants getting hacked. Samantha, it's CEO Chen now, actually, and I have a board meeting. Real job stuff. You understand. I do understand, finally. Success isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Even if you have to do it one line of code at a time,